Welcome back to Anderson Acres. We're in the kitchen tonight because we are going to make chocolate-covered apple slices. These are delicious and fun. We're going to start, we need to melt some chocolate chips. Now you can use milk chocolate chips, you can use dark chocolate chips, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But we're going to make apple slices instead of big caramel apples. And that is, ignore the dogs walking around. That is mostly because, have you ever tried to eat a caramel or chocolate covered apple? It is very, very difficult to do so. Like, very, very difficult to do so. They are big, they are difficult to bite, they're fun in the fall, but they're difficult. So, we are going to slice apples and coat them. So, the first order of business is to start melting some chocolate. So, here we have, I probably have a cup and a half of chocolate chips, a couple of tablespoons of butter. I put it in my chocolate melter. You can also do this in a double boiler. It's fine. It doesn't actually matter. Double boiler, chocolate melter. I'm using a chocolate melter because it makes a ton of sense. Next up, we want to get ourselves some apples. So I have some really pretty good quality Royal Gala apples here. I'm just getting the sticker off them because I have stickers. And we are going to get this guy out of our way. We're just going to set him aside. Chocolate melters take a few minutes. So while that is melting, we are going to get a cutting board and some apples. Okay? Let's put these over here for now. The other thing we need is we need a bowl to put our apple slices in. Now, this next part is optional. You don't have to do this, but this will help keep your apple slices from turning brown. So I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice to the bottom. Not much. You don't need a ton. You can always add more later. A little bit of lemon juice to the bowl. That lemon juice helps keep them from going all brown and weird. Then we're going to take a little bit of sugar. This is about half a tablespoon. Not a ton again, just a little. This part's optional. You can just do it with just the apples. And here's some cinnamon. Again, not a ton, just a little bit. We primarily want the flavor of, this is nutmeg. We primarily want the flavor of the apples. But it doesn't hurt to add some seasoning to your apples, does it? A little bit of cloves. Not much. Not much. This part's optional. You don't have to do this part. Okay, set your bowl aside. Apples. Apple slicer. It is easier to use an apple slicer than to do it manually. Can you do this manually? Of course. And we're over on the stove just because that's the plug I have available. Here are your slices. And so let me pull all these out. If you apply pressure down onto your apple slicer when you pull your apples out, they come out cleaner and they don't end up all ripped. The apple core goes to the animals. Take those apple slices, dump them in the bowl. Next, and you can obviously do however many you want. So this makes 8 slices. But I mean, if you want everybody to have their own, if you want everyone to have their own apple, you would have 8 slices per person. But if you're doing like for kids, they're not going to eat a whole apple. Okay, they're literally not going to eat a whole apple. It's not that deep. They're not going to have an entire apple. So since they're not going to have an entire apple, the thing you can do is reduce the number of apple slices that you do. So instead of doing 8 apples for 8 people, you can do 4 apples, and everybody gets like 3 or 4 slices. So toss these around the bowl. Toss these around the bowl. Just to get a little bit on them. They don't have to get a lot. Okay, just a little bit. Just so they don't go completely brown on you. Okay, we're going to take these, stand them up like so. Just, we're going to let them dry a little bit. Okay, we're just going to stand them up Let them dry. And they can obviously be closer together than that. If you want to make more, make more. It's completely fine. I'm just doing 2 apples because I find it better if you're going to do it. I like to leave the chocolate and let it solidify in there. And then I can just remelt it tomorrow if I want to make more. I don't love making these ahead, but you can. You can make them a couple of days ahead. Okay. We're just going to let these dry for a few minutes. Okay. There we go. I'm going to set this bowl aside because I might make more. It depends. Depends on a lot of factors, really. So we'll see. If you're hearing no, 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 no in the background, it's because there's a bunch of kittens getting in the house. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to set these ones aside. Okay. We are going to let this melt. I'm going to get myself one of my long-handled spoons. Okay, one of my longer-handled spoons. So I can kind of get the butter down in there. Okay, because that's what we want. We need this melted. So to melt it, we also need to get the butter in there. So ignore the kitten that has come in and is now talking to me because she wants me to give her a snack. I don't have a snack right now. You don't like apples, honey. So we're going to let that melt. That's going to take a few minutes. We will come back and then worry about our apples, but just let them sit and let them kind of dry off a little bit. Okay? We'll be right back as soon as that's melted. Okay. This is looking melty enough. If you want to, turn your heat off. You can also melt it in the microwave. It's not that big a deal. Okay. Now we need to address our apple situation. These have been sitting. We're going to take our apples, take a skewer. You can use reusable skewers, wooden skewers, whatever you have. Ta-da. Now, what we need is we actually need one of those caramel sundae topping sauces. You can skip this if you like. I do it because 1, it helps the chocolate stick. 2, it's delicious. So I'm just using the Smucker's brand. Yeah, you can make caramel yourself. I didn't today. But you can. So what we're going to do is take this and go over top of these. Just like so. You can do a more thorough job. If you really like caramel, you might want to dip them in the caramel. Or you might just want to drizzle. Okay? Up to you. Up to you. Try not to get it on the stick. Okay. Set that aside. Okay. Now what we're going to need is toppings. I have things like mini marshmallows. I'm also going to need, by the way, this. Okay. You're going to need a sheet pan lined with wax paper. But I have mini marshmallows. I have peanuts. I have salted caramel. Whatever toppings you want. You could just use Smarties or M&Ms. What do your kids like? Whatever. It doesn't matter. You could also use nothing. You could also do them plain. It's not really that big a deal. Okay. Now what we're going to do. We have our apples. Okay. Our apples sitting off to the side. We have our chocolate, which I'm going to move for a better view so you can see what I'm doing. We have a long-handled spoon. Okay. I have a long-handled spoon because you're going to want a long-handled spoon just in case because you're probably not going to dip your apple all the way in. Okay. So, chocolate, pan lined with wax paper, apples to the side. Pick a topping. I'm going to grab the peanuts first. Grab an apple, and you can dip and pull. You can grab this and dump it on. It's up to you. Now, it's not going to want to stick great. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your spoon and help get some on there because apples, once you slice them, are really kind of wet. That's why we've been letting them dry. And something else you can do, if you're having trouble getting it to adhere, get it on like so. Kind of let it drip. Rotate and do the other side. Okay? Do the other side. So now, once you have them mostly covered, you don't have to be perfect. If you let your apples dry longer than I did, I'm impatient and want to eat these tonight. And it is getting late. But if you're not as impatient as me, you can let your apples dry longer. Take whatever topping you're feeling at that moment and dump it on there. And we're going to do that with more of them. Okay, you want more of them. And you want to use your spoon to help. Right, your spoon to help get them on there. And they don't really want to stick very well, but that's okay. As long as they stick sort of, kind of okay. I like to put, just to hold it on there. Okay, now we're going to do some mini marshmallows. Whatever you like, whatever topping you enjoy, right? You can do caramel crunch, you can do mini marshmallows, you can just do them all peanuts, or leave them plain. However you feel like doing it, it doesn't matter, okay? It does not matter. It literally makes no difference what toppings you use. You can use anything you kind of sort of enjoy, to be honest, okay? If you like that topping, you can have that topping on there. It doesn't matter, okay? So what we're going to do is, one, get a little more chocolate on the bottom, and then smooth the chocolate over it, and pour a little more chocolate on. Depends how much chocolate you want on there, to be honest. You can go pretty thick. You could even let that dry and do another layer. So however much you want, whatever you want to put on there, doesn't really matter. And if you are not as impatient as me, they'll look better, but I am really impatient because I kind of want chocolate covered apples. Here's some more peanuts. I'm going to keep doing that, and I'm not going to record the whole thing because that would be really boring watching me decide which toppings to put on. But essentially, that's all you do. We'll be back when I have mostly a tray full. I won't make you watch me do the whole thing. Okay, that's done. I have 2 trays full. So a couple of things. If you are more patient than I am, they will look better. But frankly, I had no patience, and I just wanted to get them done so I can eat them. There are peanuts, there are variety sprinkles, there's caramel crunch, and there are mini marshmallows. That's the toppings we did. There's a couple of trays full. And now you have to pop them in either the fridge or the freezer. It's up to you how fast you want them to chill to set that chocolate. How long that chocolate takes to set kind of depends. A couple of things you want to be aware of when people are walking around. People are going to snag your apples with the caramel on them before they even get chocolate on them. People are going to snag these before they're set. And people are going to walk by and randomly dip other stuff into your chocolate. So try to do this without anybody else in the room. But we're going to pop these in the fridge, and then we will come back when they're set. Again, you can do it on the freezer, in the freezer. You can also just leave them on your counter. It'll just take a little longer. We'll be back. And there we go. Just like that, they are finished. Our chocolate-covered apple slices are just perfect. There's some caramel in there. There's chocolate. There's whatever topping you desire. And then you can chow down, which is what I'm going to do. You can make yours look nicer than mine look if you're a little more patient. I wasn't. I didn't let my chocolate melt fully, and I really rushed as much as I could because I just want to eat them. I'm very hungry for them. I love these chocolate-covered apple slices. They're a fun fall treat, especially if you have an excess of apples, or you like to make chocolate-covered or caramel apples, but you don't like having a bite into the entire apple because it's awkward. How many times can you say apple in 2 minutes? But these are a really great alternative. You can do them with the traditional caramel coating that you see for caramel apples. That's absolutely fine as well. It's just another idea, a way to have your apples without the awkwardness of having to eat that entire apple. Slice them up first, no big deal. I hope you enjoyed making chocolate-coated apple slices here with us today, and I hope you'll join us again for whatever we make next week. I haven't decided yet. We'll see you tomorrow.